Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Brian's Life. And this adventure, I'm going to be heading back to the Philippines shortly. So follow along because you're going to see a lot of cool videos coming up soon. Anyway, what I want to touch base with is, are you packing the right stuff? Now, I'm going to share a real simple one real quick right off the bat, but it can be devastating if you don't have it. Now, I wear a size 12, more comfortable size 13. I can get away with a size 12 when it comes to my shoes. You wear your sandals or whatever. I've had it where I've tripped once and I tore the support of the sandal away. Of course, I couldn't wear that unless I get duct tape or something like that. But I want to make it real clear. You're there for a while and you only bring one or maybe two pair, and something happens, you're stuck with that one pair. You know, they get wet or get washed or anything like this, and you only got one pair then. If you're doing a lot of walking around or even a little bit of walking around, it really limits you if you don't have the right pair of shoes. And I know this might sound trivial, but it's not, because you're not going to really eat well. I have yet to find a proper size shoe for myself when I'm in the Philippines. Now, having said that, I'm sure if I went right into Manila in the higher end malls, the main department stores, I'm sure I could find them. But it would probably be a pretty significant price, but it would be worth paying for if you're stuck there for a long time and you don't have comfortable shoes, because that's a real drag. Okay. So make sure you bring a couple extra pair of shoes. Now, the other one I want to touch with is medication. Now, medication, I obviously, if you're going to go for a few months, you have whatever kind of medication, you're going to bring them with you. They do. It's not to say that they don't have good doctors there, that they don't. In fact, they have more, Mercury drugs and corner drug stores, a lot that you would see in North America in comparison. And in fact, simple stuff like getting nauseous or headaches or different, weird things and fevers, they have medicines that they sell you by the pill, even on these little corner stores, sorry stores and stuff like that. And I have taken it. But which brings me to this, I use Gravol once in a while. And when I get really nauseous, but can't throw up or something like that. It happened, I got bit by a mosquito there and I ended up with dengue. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, and I ended up in the hospital, and it was terrible. They gave me this stuff that was for my fever and stuff, and that made me super nauseous. I, for the life of me, was trying to find out. They didn't even know what it was. They don't carry it. I would have paid a fortune. I pay a few dollars for this back home here, and I would have paid a fortune if I would have been able to get my hands on that when I was there. So I'm still learning. Okay, so that's why I like to do these things, and have you learn from my mistakes. But as a rule, medications and stuff are not that difficult to find, but it's important. If you got this little certain favorite things there, bring them along. It's a little bit more convenient as well. But they do sell a lot of stuff that's not even prescription, or it's like you would need a prescription here in North America, and there they don't. Okay. Painkillers, that's a difficult one to get if you're into any kind of stronger painkillers. If you are taking any kind of Tylenol, codeines and stuff, they don't sell that there, or at least I haven't heard of them actually ever selling them. I don't know if they actually in certain areas you can, but they don't really write those prescriptions, and you sure cannot get them over the counter. They don't like handing out any kind of painkiller medication, so be aware of that. And in fact, I don't even know if they're allowed to sell it or even have that. Maybe somebody can enlighten me on that one or not. So this is something to keep in mind as well. And I'm not having a negative attitude with it as far as bring your own medication. Like I said, there's a lot of drugstores there, and they're more than happy to help you. It's just sometimes they just don't have it. And another thing is, we're suffering this from worldwide. A lot of issues is supply issues. And there's, like, the last time I was there, they still have an issue sometimes of stuff that just don't have in stock. Okay, so again, something to be aware of. And then the rest, you're going to have your normal clothes. I mean, even if you're a bigger person, okay, that you got a smaller shirt, whatever, the shoe, that stands out for me, because if you are an uncomfortable feet and you're trying to walk around, that's just terrible. Okay. Then you got your sunblock lotion, you got your, they sell there, but it's a pretty significant price and it's not as easy to get. So, it doesn't hurt to throw a couple bottles here when it's on sale. I find it's cheaper here than it is there. But here's the big one. Are you packing? And this takes up no weight and no extra space. Are you packing the right attitude? Okay. It is going to be a culture shock. If you've never been to Asia at all, you know, the first time you get off that plane, the smells, the temperatures, the noises, everything's going to be different. And that's not to say, again, I'm not being in a negative way. I'll backtrack for a minute. I remember one time going to Cuba, and there's all these reviews on these resorts saying, you know, don't count a 4 or 5 star resort being what we're used to, a 4 or 5 star resort as North America. It'll be a lot less. And all my mind, I'm thinking, oh, whatever, I don't care. I'm not going to be a resort. I'm going to go out and, you know, enjoy the pools, the oceans, and blah, blah, blah. The minute I got off that plane, my thinking was, oh, I hope the aircon works properly, air conditioner. I hope it's a decent place and comfortable, because it was like a heat wave and humidity. So anyway, like I said, if you've never been, it's a culture shock. Okay, so there's different heat. Obviously, there's the humidity. There is definitely different smells, noises. The whole culture is different, of course. So it's going to be a little bit overwhelming. And again, if you're comparing North America to the anywhere in Asia, I'm going to assume, but I'm speaking of the Philippines right now, would be things don't run. I hate to say the word normally, because that's not a correct term, but not the way we're used to it, okay, where we would be used to it. So don't bring what we're used to there, because you're not going to be able to implement that. And more importantly, if you think you are going to be able to implement that, you're going to be in a world of disappointment and hurt, and unnecessarily do, because there's no point for it. It doesn't change anything. It's not going to be fixed. You know, I gave you a real simple example of I went to get my driver's license. Now, here in Canada, you go to the government building and you fill out the application, you pay the money, and you get the receipt, and you blah, blah, blah. It's all one counter, one stop. There, I'm not trying to overdo the situation, but it was like many little departments. Okay, first you got to get stopped right by the door. You have to make sure you got the proper ID. It makes sense, you know, before they even let you in. Okay, if they can't help you, you can't even go in there. So that's step one. Then you got I think it was the medical first. You got to go out and get your medical thing. Then you got to bring it back to one window. They got to pick that up. Then you got to go pay for a service thing, the fee at a different window, wait in the line up for that one. Then you got to go to a different window to pick up your receipt, wait in the line up for that one again. Then you got to take your receipt to go to a different window. And you get the picture, okay? It's just like, it's really strange. But I mean, the whole system works for them. That's what they're used to. Now, for example, you can't go in there and sit there, this is stupid. Where's the one window? Well, I mean, you can do that, but it ain't going to change nothing. It's just going to get them upset at you for being rude. And you're going to talk to someone that's rude, and they're just doing their job. And, you know, and life would be a lot simpler if you pack the right attitude. Okay? And that little example goes a long ways for everything, okay? When you're doing your lineup for the taxis or whatever. I mean, there's not really a lineup for the taxis. In the bigger malls, there can be sometimes. But it's not the same what we're used to, okay? That's the point I'm trying to make. And when you're going to the jeepneys and they're a little bit crowded and this and that, and if you get nervous about being lost and where you're going to be going, all these kind of things, okay? I look at it like, you know, I've got a time frame when I'm there for a significant amount. I'm part of the whole thing is the journey, looking at where things are going. So worst case scenario, if it's the wrong direction, now, you know, if it happened, I mean, I've been in situations where I needed to get where I needed to go relatively sooner than later, okay? So yeah, it can be a little bit frustrating, but stepping back from that and saying, okay, you know, the journey is part of the fun, okay? So just enjoy it. You know, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Everybody's in a good mood. A real good example I'm going to make a different video on driving in the Philippines as well. But here's a really good example. You know, it can be really trafficking, chaotic, and there's no proper stop signs. But there's no road rage, or if there is, it's minimal compared to North America here. So, you know, everybody's kind of content, okay? And it just works the way it works. They're used to it. It's how it is. So don't try to bring your understanding of what this is what your common sense or your way of thinking should be, because it will be different. So if you're packing the right attitude and you just enjoy, you never know what's going to happen, who you're going to meet, what directions it's going to go. You know, that's part of the fun. Okay. So are you packing the right stuff? You know, you're going to have a blast. If you're going to go out there and enjoy, I've never been, you're going to enjoy it. The culture is fantastic. The people are friendly, and they do enjoy sharing their moments with you and stuff like that. So you really will have a great time, especially if you are appreciative and smile and have a great time with them. And you know, it's a fantastic place to be. I'm looking forward to going back. I can't wait there. I mean, sure, when I'm there, there's a few things I miss, of course, that are here, but you know, as far as packing the right stuff, shoes, some odd medications that you may be very, you know, familiar with, you want, of course, bring that. Everything else you're gonna get. You know, when I go for long terms, I bring certain spices and stuff like that with me, just because the cost factor it a little bit. If I've got the space, I'll bring it in my luggage. It's also the convenience of having it. Like I said, little bags of spices go a long ways, and it's not as easy to find there that I'm going to be used to having, right? But overall, you can really find everything you need. You know, clothing is simple. Obviously, that's you can get anywhere. So there's nothing really important you need to bring that you have to be really worried about. If anybody figures I'm missing something that you know you need for sure, well, besides a wad of cash, all right. But you know, your paperwork. Oh, actually, another hint I'd like to throw in there as well. One of the things I do is I grab those little packages that you find in shoe boxes that keep your stuff dry. You know, those little, I forget what they're called. I bring them and I put my passport and important papers in a big Ziploc bag and throw those pouches in there, because the very first time I went, after about a month or so, my passport started warping because it's so, and like the pages started curling a little bit. It's the high humidity. So for a personal thing, I prefer putting my important papers in there with a couple of those little dry packages. So these are little tiny hints. Take them how you want. Do them, don't do them. You know, it's not going to be a deal breaker, but those are a few little hints of advice I would try to bring. And like I said, if anybody thinks I've missed something or has a direct question, please drop a comment. I try to read them all and get back to you, and I enjoy interacting. And I'm heading out in a few weeks, so look forward to posting some adventures when I get there. All right, everybody, take great care and have a wonderful time, and we'll talk to you again. Thank you.